Good evening. Happy Sunday, folks. It's Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, Anthony DiMaggio is back. Back like he never left. Oh, what, you thought we weren't doing any more podcasts? Some of you are misinformed. Help me welcome former Yonkers Police Lieutenant Anthony DiMaggio.
What do you say, Freddie?
Good evening, folks. Good evening. How you doing? I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Anthony DiMaggio. You should know by now. He's been here many, many times. This is number 11. Good evening, Anthony. How you doing, man?
10, I think.
I'm sorry?
10. I think number 10 this is, no?
Number 10? I thought we did 10 last. Well, we've done so many.
I don't know. I lost count, yeah.
But I said that we're still doing the podcast because we didn't come on Friday and we didn't do it Saturday, and that got the people to talking. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, and this isn't the first time. If I don't do podcasts now, it's like people wonder, did I get beat up or did I get bought out? One of the two. Are you okay? Are you safe? Or did they buy you out? That's what I get messages like that. Believe it or not, it's crazy. I tell my wife. I said, honey, I have to do a podcast. I don't want people to think I'm dead. You know. Anyway, folks, good evening. I'm Freddie Vasquez. The man you see there is Anthony DiMaggio. I'm sure you know by now. 15-year police veteran, Yonkers Police Department, a lieutenant who scored a perfect score on the test. A man that has been told he is an excellent officer, methodical, someone who needs very little supervision, someone you would want on your team, highly recommended. And these are the words of the former police commissioner, John Mueller, who I saw on Friday. I did. I saw him at the Tough Man competition. Shout out to the fire department. They won. They won 7 out of the 10 matches. So it was 7-3. Where does the money go for the boxing fundraisers for the cops and firefighters? Romario, good question. We're going to get to that in a second. But I want to first talk about or get into that, actually, the Tough Man and a few other things tonight, as well as continue on your story. But let's talk about Tough Man. We didn't come on Friday because of the Tough Man competition, which is the boxing matches between the Yonkers Fire Department and the Yonkers Police Department. You informed me of it, actually. I didn't even know. And so I said, cool, yeah, we can do that. Tell me about that event. Is there anything,
always a good time.
Something interesting. Yeah, it was. It seemed like it was a very good time.
Always a good time. Always a lot of people there. Always a lot of people. Crammed, you know. The beer is not included in the sale of the ticket to.
Someone asked me about that. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't go for beer, but so I said I doubt it was. Right? That's never how it works.
No, but they make too much money off the beer. Yeah.
Did you consider coming, going to the event on Friday? Just wondering.
No, but I did go to the after party, and I got there a little early.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard you were at the after party. Yeah. You didn't make it to the show, but you were at the after party. That's for sure, right? But actually, you were, thought of at the Tough Man competition. You did come up. Your name came up, and I was told that if you showed up, that you would probably get killed.
Oh, really?
Well, not literally in that sense. Not literally get killed, but it basically. People would not be happy that you were there, right? And so the stares would be like, if looks could kill, right?
Well, there was some of that at the after party for sure. But no, I mean, I went to Fogarty's for the after party. I think everybody probably knows that by now, a lot of people.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a second. Let me ask you that question. Where does the money go for the for this boxing fundraiser?
Probably in Nick Spano's pocket like the rest of the money around this town. But no, I'm kidding. It goes to charities. Goes to I forget. I know some of the money used to go to the PAL. Wounded Warriors. One year it went. A couple of different charities. I don't know if they do the same ones all the time, but
so that's not just for the police departments and the fire departments and things that they need.
No, I don't know. I think maybe in the beginning when they started doing it 20 or so years ago, there might have been some of that but it's gotten so big and profitable over the years that it mostly goes to charities. I know there was some issue about what happened to some of the money one year going on in the Hezzy case with Sussman and Mueller and Olson, and they got accused of some things. Yeah,
they got Elizabeth Seats in children's schools. My son attends it. They sent some of the money there. It was a great event, man. A lot of people were there. I spoke to a few people, that supported the show and thanked me for doing it. And some people didn't want to give me their names. So we don't even want to give me their names, but they liked the show. They said they watched. And it was dope. I liked it. A lot of people looked like they were having fun. I saw the VIP section up there, where the politicians, like the officials were. And then you made me aware of this. Today, I believe you sent me a screenshot from my video, and you told me that I was actually standing in front of the mother of your daughter.
Yeah, she's there. She's a devoted attendee every year. She loves that event.
Danny Sullivan says he was scared to go.
You can't live in fear, Danny. Come on, man. You should have went. If you wanted to go, you should have went.
Well, anyway, folks, let's get right into it. Let's talk about, I can never pronounce this place, Fogarty's over in Bronxville. You went there to have some drinks. It's a bar, restaurant, right? And it's frequented by Yonkers police officer. Yeah. It's in Bronxville, on the Bronxville Yonkers border. It's actually not too far from my home. I've gone a couple times, and you went on Friday night, and it didn't really go well. Tell me about that.
No, on the contrary, it did. It did. There were a few moments where, it looked like maybe it was going to go south, but, I was pretty confident that it would, and I was right. A lot of mean mugs for sure, but, there was a ton of people there, got to be over 100 people there. I mean, it's just a very popular place.
Right.
It is a Yonkers cop hangout because, it's a retired Yonkers detective and his family that own it. Great guy. Great guy.
Yeah.
Fogarty, and his parents are great people too. And I used to go there a lot. I was a cop. I haven't been there in a while, but I knew that when I went out, I said, the Tough Man's always a good night out. Been to them before, and it's always a good night on the town afterwards. Everybody's out, and like I said, I still got a lot more friends than I got enemies at the YPD. So I said, be fine. I want to see what the haters are going to have to say, if anything, anyways. And there were a few of them there. We could talk about it if you want to.
Well, from what I'm hearing, you almost got into a fight with, one or two individuals, and then, people didn't want you there, and they kind of not escorted you out, but kind of said, hey, maybe you need to go.
Nobody said shit. Nobody said anything. Okay, what happened was they must have went to Sean Fogarty and said, "No, he's got to go. We want him out of here." But Sean is a pal, and he's a stand-up guy, so he wasn't about to come over to me and tell me that I had to leave. What I think he did do was he told the bartenders, just don't give him any more drinks and hopefully he'll leave, because I was just drinking beers. But the problem was, like I said, I had a lot more friends in the place than enemies. So when they saw that, they were buying me beers. You see what I'm saying? It's, they won't give you one, we'll get you one. What do you want?
Oh, so there were people that support you, because I know I've seen the people comment and support of you. You've also shown me messages that you've received in support of what you're doing. But did anyone come up to you that supported you and say, hey, this is we support this guy,
No,
chill with the looks.
Talks about the podcast. I certainly didn't bring it up.
Well, not about the podcast, but just right. Because you obviously had people giving you looks, and maybe did anyone step up in your defense, or anyone, or no?
No, there was no need really. I mean, there was only a handful of people in there like that. I'd say about half a dozen or so. Mikey Muller was in there, John's younger brother. I actually acknowledged him because I never had a problem with Mike, but he's mean mugging me, which is not a surprise. So I just ignored him.
Or are you talking about his brother John?
Yeah, well, yeah. It wasn't my idea to be in this position, so
it's your reality, and
it's what it is,
And you're right to discuss it. But so, I mean, look, why did you go there? And I'm only asking you because did you go there to cause problems? Because
no, of course not. I went there to have a good time. I would never.
When was the last time you were there?
It's been it might have been about a year.
Okay,
yeah.
So you knew that. As being a former police officer, right, in Yonkers, that you're going to see Yonkers police there after Tough Man competition, right? And I only say this because some are looking at it as you went there to cause problems. I mean, not directly like I'm gonna go and fight somebody, but just to make be seen, because people are gonna
Right,
be there, and you wanna it's not, you didn't just go there. You know what? I feel like having a drink. I just want to go out and just drink and chill, and have a
that
good
is what
time
it
with good
was. So
friends.
it's should I let the fact that I know problems might happen deter me from going? That's not how I'm going to live my life. I know that
Maybe
when I go there, I'm going to have more friends than enemies, and I'm going to have a good time regardless. So
it only takes one person for something to happen. So I'm just saying that
that's true.
so you have to
I knew it was a possibility,
right.
but I didn't care.
But why not? But why not?
Because, like I said, if that's where a lot of my friends are going to be, then that's where I'm going to go, and that's it. And a lot of these dudes, look, a lot of them, they're going to give you mean mugs. They're not going to do shit. When you see a
Right.
guy, looking at you all mean and hard, that's the first big indicator that he's not going to do anything, because real tough guys don't do that. They just walk up to you and punch in your face. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, after I saw Mikey Mahler, he decided to just look at me like a hard ass and not say anything to me, which was fine. I wasn't surprised. Then I turn and I see this big, tall Duke Nukem looking dude who I had never seen before. And he's looking at me really hard, like he wants to do something to me. So I said, okay, who are you? Tony Spano. Oh,
okay.
well, that's what I said. But I basically said,
you didn't know who Tony Spano was?
I've heard his name. I've heard he's a pretty good guy,
seen him.
actually, but I've never no, I have never met him, and I had never seen him before. But
Right.
when he told me he was Tony, I said, and what do you want? So then it started to get a little nasty, and I said, why don't you do me a favor? Tell your brother I'm going to destroy him politically.
Wow, really?
That?
That's what you told him?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Mayor for life.
How did he take
4,
that?
5, 6 terms. He wasn't happy, so that's when it almost got into a little bit of a scuffle, but people intervened, and then that was it. I went off to the other side of the bar. Eventually, Keith Olsen walked in.
Wow.
When tried to give him a big hug, he didn't take too well to it.
Oh no, I don't think he would take very kindly to you hugging him. I mean, you have to understand, he's there. There's other cops, and even if he, wanted to give you a hug.
I didn't try to give him a big hug. I just
I thought you listen. Knowing who you are, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you went there in the first place, right? And knowing that something maybe could happen, right? So, but and I'm only saying, Anthony, this, just honestly, just because this is how I am, being honest, and I think by now, as kind of somewhat of a friend, I mean, however you want to, it's gonna make you look bad, right? It's gonna make you look bad. It's gonna take away people who want to support you or keep people who want to support you from supporting you, because it makes you look like you're looking for problems, right? You're looking because if you wanted to go out and hang out with friends, why not go to another bar and just hang out with friends there? And so that way you're also not uncomfortable, right? With people staring at you and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm never uncomfortable. I mean, here's what I ask myself. How much do you want to change your behavior and your lifestyle to make other people
but you said you hadn't been there in a year.
So
right.
Yeah, I haven't been there. I haven't been there in a while. I work a couple of different jobs now. I got fired close to a year ago, and I immediately got a couple of different jobs.
I got you.
So, I have a different kind of a lifestyle now. I have been there since this mess started at work a few times.
Right.
Like I said,
so you're saying you knew that friends were going to be there from the Tough Man competition. They were going to be going over there, so you wanted to kind of meet up with them. Did they know you were coming?
No. I just
so that was a surprise to them.
That's the spot. After the Tough Man, you go to Fogarty's, right? So I said to myself, if I wasn't in this whole mess, would I have gone? Of course I would have. So why am I going to change that?
Now let me ask you, what about your friends, right? What about them? If they're your friends, don't you want to say, maybe I should at least tell them that I'm coming, because something could happen when I'm with them, talking to them or at the bar and something, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could get them put in a situation. I
didn't expect much to happen, man, because a lot of these people, they're paper tigers, I heard in the aftermath, I got a phone call yesterday. Somebody said, you better watch out, because they're looking for a reason to get you in handcuffs. Any reason possible. Don't have a beer at the bar and then get in your car. Don't get into a scuffle with somebody on the street. Not that I would anyway. I'm not a violent guy, but I mean, just don't give them a reason, because Keith Olsen has the troops out. Certain of them, he wouldn't try that shit with the younger cops, I don't think, because the post Chucky cops are just a different breed, and they don't play those games. a lot more
Yeah,
intelligent.
that's something that I actually had thought about myself, early on, with the child pornography thing that they try to, accuse me of. And honestly, as crazy and as outlandish as it sounds when they try to accuse me of watching it and my wife sharing it with me from her work computer, I don't know if they were trying to use that as a reason to come and arrest me because the city council president, her chief of staff, was saying that I was going to get arrested for it, right? Before anyone was talking about it, before I even really knew that this was happening. And so it was like almost like a setup. So it seems like that's something that maybe they do. They try to set you to get arrested if they, if you're.
They did
I
something
just watch myself
similar.
now with everything now.
They did something similar with the what was his name? I can't even think of it. The superintendent, the school superintendent. They wanted to get rid of something about him watching
Oh,
porn in his office or whatever. I don't know. I
right,
heard it was all
right, right.
bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, they
Yeah, I
hacked
mean,
my wife's computer that day when I found out about it. When the Yonkers Voice and his partner Brian Harab, the Yonkers Newswire, posted this, and my wife, which is it was a complete lie. They what the heck was I just saying? I forgot what I was just saying. I was telling you something. I totally forgot. But anyway, they tried to, use this to get me arrested. They said that I was watching. Oh, I'm sorry. They hacked into my wife's computer. That's what I was saying. I mean to say they literally hacked into her work computer at the Yonkers Public Schools, just her, right? And they said that the IT guy said, did you give anyone your password? And she said, no. Why would you ask me that? I wouldn't do that. He goes, because it was only your computer. So it's like they were looking to try to set stuff into, put implant maybe shit into my wife's computer and then have this video that was sent to me. And that whole scheme came out of Macy, Housing Authority of Yonkers. And so, yeah, and it's crazy that they were talking about me getting arrested for it. Right? Like they trying to really ruin you. And I don't play those games. You know what I'm saying? And so, that's not cool to put you in handcuffs,
but this is what they do. You understand? I mean, who's this? Who's this fellow? Somebody told me he's a pretty nice guy, actually. He hasn't really thrown himself into the mix with me like Handjob Harrod did. But what this does Delphine? What's his name?
Oh,
Delphine.
Dell is a good guy. Yeah, Dell is
Yeah.
good. Dell is cool. I mean, from what I know of Dell, him and I,
He posted an article about Spano. About he's about to announce that he's going to run for a fourth term.
yes.
And I guess he must support that idea because in the caption above the link that he posted, he said something about the only accomplishment of Spanos that he highlighted was the fact that he brought political stability to Yonkers. I'm like, well, yeah, when you spend 12 years quieting dissenters through bribery and intimidation and fraudulent
Right.
investigations, and yeah, you've wiped out all political dissent. So now you have a dictatorship. Those tend to be pretty stable for a while.
Right.
So political stability, really, that's how you're going to sum up everything this guy's done over the last 12 years. Well, that's one way to say it, sure. Yeah, I mean, I went in on him and he deleted the comment.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah,
look, Dell, from what I know, is a nice guy. Listen, one thing I've learned is that money is a powerful tool.
sure.
Money is a very, very powerful tool. And even when you're a good person, when you need money and you have a source that's feeding you some of that money, you're going to do things, maybe that, you know, aren't the most ethical or hold the most integrity. And, and that's why I don't take any advertisement money or anything from anyone, but they get ads from politicians and elected officials and things like that. And then certain businesses will be directed to pay ads for, on their pages. And that's how they make their money. Like Ruro said to me in John Cater's office one day, he said, this is his bread and butter. That's why he's upset with me, because I'm taking away some viewers, I guess, or whatever, and that's his bread and butter. No, that's what it is about, And so, I mean, listen, and the fact that they will also try to hurt my business. So, this is horrible that we have elected officials, politicians that will try to, get you locked up, right? If you speak out against them, or will purposely hurt your business, causing you to lose money, right? A lot of money, not just money, but your peace of mind. You become crazy, right? It's almost like, yeah, maybe we're crazy because you guys have made us crazy, right? With the things that you've done to us, right? 2 years with my business. So, and it's sad that and unfortunate that that's what happens,
And look, I'm not gonna lie, that was part of it. I didn't go out looking for trouble last night, but I did go out, because I wanted to, because I knew I'd have a lot of friends there, but also just to show these hand jobs that not everybody's afraid of them. You know what I mean? What do I have to be afraid of from any of you clowns? Nothing. Zero.
Right.
Nothing.
Why are 2 4-year terms enough for the president of the United States, but not enough for a local mayor and city council? And I always go to just being general. It's not about the Spanos necessarily or whatever, and or even any of the council people. It's just term limits are there for a specific reason, and and there's a reason. So to eliminate them is like But listen, again, one thing that people will have a chance to is vote for a different person. So if people don't want the mayor, because I know without doubt he's running again, and I'm sure everybody else now. You can not vote for him, right? It's up to you. But you can't not vote, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, not vote, because then you have to vote if you want something different. So
Mayor for
it's
life.
going to be up to the people. It's going to be up to the people, and we'll see what happens. And but I agree. I think term limits are there for a reason. I agree. But a lot of people say that developments are great for Yonkers, and these are people that can't even afford the developments.
No,
saying,
yeah,
anyway.
no, they can't. They can't.
So
the
just
developments.
Like, you can't live there.
Yeah, I guess they don't do a whole great deal of harm, but I don't know how much of a benefit are they really. A lot of the people are just commuters hopping on the train.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's transit-oriented district or something like that, and
Right.
that's what Kathy Hochul spoke about. She gave all this money for that, and that's what they're building. And so, a lot of people are getting, pushed out, unfortunately. But I want to go back to you. Tony Spano. I've never met Tony Spano. I don't think I've even seen Tony Spano, but I did hear you got into it with a gentleman by the name of Tony Spano. I did hear that.
Yeah, and that's it's kind of an exaggeration to even say it that way, because it really wasn't. It was just a few seconds. That was it. And then I stayed. I didn't leave. I just left that area where he was hanging out. Lenny Spano, the younger, was there too. The guy that owns the oil company. He's a good guy. Another guy. I used to hang around with him and Vinny once in a while back in the day. Right. So it's really a shame that our families are involved in this mess. A couple of my aunts were getting phone calls yesterday because my aunts are friends with the Spano sisters, some of them. Oh, what's going on? What's wrong with your nephew? What's wrong with my nephew? You have any idea what these people did to him? Like, no wonder he's going around. Is that what they said to her?
Is that what your aunts
that's what I was told. I don't know if that's really how it played out, but I've heard it's been said.
Right. Yeah, because your families were very close. I mean, Vinny Spano, I believe, dated your cousin, was it, for 16 years or something like that?
Oh, so you have been hearing things, because I didn't tell you how long it was. I just said, yeah.
Sometimes I do my homework, but I mean, it's a long time.
It's a long time. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, and so your families have known each other very well. So, but why did this happen then? Why wasn't it prevented from happening?
Because by the time they got involved, by the time my father called them, and part of this was because I was holding them back, because I just know that, Mike Spano, having picked John Mueller for less than wholesome reasons to be the police commissioner, is not going to do anything to help us. It's already too late. I already have way too much showing what Mueller did. So at this point, Mike's not going to do anything except listen to the lawyers, But my father said this was when we figured out that they had sent her to the family court up in Dutchess County to file a disgusting family offense petition against me, keeping me away from my daughter, and all this other disgusting shit. And when we realized that that's what she had done, because we were getting some phone calls, people tipping us off to some things, he says to me, you gotta let me call Mike, because the next thing is you're going to be in handcuffs with this guy. Right. Mueller's not going to stop. And there was a conversation. I said, he's not going to stop, but I keep catching him every time he does something else. Every time he does something, I either get a phone call recording, or there's paperwork showing it. So, we're giving him enough rope to hang himself. If we let him keep going, maybe he'll just finish the job for us. And he'll give me so much that it's almost like. And I mean, I got plenty anyway, but we're going to get to that podcast at some point in the future.
But I mean, why did it even get to the point where you went to the psychiatrist? Why didn't someone intervene before that, right? And say, hey, listen, this got to stop now, right? All right, enough. Because I'm just saying, right. Anthony Venturino in my office now. What's up, right? Stop the nonsense. We got a crime to fight.
Yeah, I mean, Hodges had actually proposed that when I met with him in his office, but I think even if he tried to push the idea of that behind closed doors, which I think he did, they basically laughed at him, because the mob is the mob, and Gumbau was a made guy, and I broke the rules, and that's it.
Yeah, but your family was close with the Spanos, so that
they weren't involved in this at the time. They weren't involved in it. This went on for a month and a half before my father finally said to me, "You have to let me call Mike."
So you were holding your dad back from calling Mike Spano.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's not going to help. This is his police commissioner. All he's going to do is tell the attorneys to get involved and to try to cover up his own bad judgment for having picked him, which is
Well,
exactly what happened when we did finally call him.
I hear your dad is a very respected individual. Even by the people that may seem to have a problem with you, have still said nothing but good things about your dad.
Right,
And
right.
maybe I don't know. And I guess we can always talk about what if, what could have, should have, would have. I get that. I was just curious as to how it went so far to begin with because of that relationship you guys have had.
Yeah, it went so far because they took some steps to set this thing up, not realizing that I had a lot of proof, documents, emails, obviously the voicemail. They never heard the voicemail, so they didn't know that he basically threatened me with workplace retaliation, a veiled threat. You want to play this game, you're going to lose it. They didn't know he said that to me. So when I let them listen to it, when I emailed them to him down at IED, and I showed them a lot of the other paperwork, how obvious it was, that's when they realized they had to play this game with the doctor.
I got
Right?
you.
They got to get leverage over me. They got to get my career away from me so that they can offer to give it back in exchange for me giving back the rights to sue them and things like that. So, by that point, it was already too late. We'll get to that point where I had a conversation with Lenny the Elder on the phone, and he was almost begging me to just sign the damn agreement that they wanted me to sign and go for this bullshit counseling that I definitely don't need, and that they would make everything all right. We'll get to that. We'll get to that point.
And I want to also ask you really quick. You're Charlie, right? He is your Charlie Cola. You're related to him, correct? You guys are relatives.
He's my mother's first cousin. Yeah.
Because I defend you, right? I do. I defend you in the streets. I mean, like when people say, that no one likes you, none of the police officers, I say, well, there's officers that have commented on the podcast, in support, and other individuals that have commented in support, and also, messages that you have received from individuals who are in the Yonkers Police Department in support, right? And then I mentioned Charles Cola because a lot of people seem to respect him also, and they said, but that's his cousin or something, your relative.
Yeah, so Charlie is my first cousin once removed, which basically just means that he's my mother's cousin, first cousin. But I hardly know Charlie. I know his sister well.
Right.
Charlie.
Well, I'm just.
Yeah,
go ahead,
I'm sorry. If I've seen him twice in the last 20 years, it was a lot. He had no reason to reach out to me on Facebook and send me that message, except that he actually believes what he's saying.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, I'm just telling you that because that's what people say. When I say but people, because I see it, I see the support you're getting and stuff like that. I see it, and then I tell people if you have an issue or whatever, ask on the podcast. Pose the question on here and let's go, because they're saying you're not telling everything, right? So and I will ask as long as it's respectful. But anyway,
we got a lot of podcasts to go, so
yeah,
there's going to be a lot more. Believe me, we've hardly scratched the surface of my termination story. We're only into like the first 5 days of it, right? We did the crime scene and we did an email chain that took place in the first 5 days afterwards. This went on for 2 years, so we're going to get to it. Believe me, I'm not going to hold anything back.
So let's go. So nothing happened with Tony Spano. No fight, no fisticuffs, no brawl at Fogarty's. Everything went well. Danny Sullivan wants, he keeps putting, I want to be fair to Danny. He's talking about Fogarty was arrested for perjury. I don't know.
Ask me a question?
I guess I don't know if it's a question or a statement. Tough man contest, DiMaggio versus Venturino. Ooh, we could charge $100 at the door for that one.
What, for 20 seconds?
I say we because I want to be a part of the promotion. Fred King Promotions. Yeah, I mean,
Danny, I've seen my name butchered a few times over the years, bro. That's pretty bad, man.
I knew what he was saying. The Migo. He's not a rapper. He's not the Migos. So good. Nothing with the Spanos. But I guess that did cause some. It was a little backlash and stuff as a result of that. There were a lot going on because we were supposed to come on Saturday, but you didn't come on. There was some stuff going on, you said. So was it having to do with this?
Some of it, a little bit. I had some family things going on too.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Oh, go ahead. Where do you want to pick up? You tell me, Anthony. Let's go. This is your story.
Oh,
I just want to
I
bring up that
wanted to
fraudulence.
try a little throw a little support behind the sergeant that was involved in that nonsense over on McLean Avenue the other day.
Yes,
Or
let's get
Kimball,
into
wherever
that.
it was. Yeah.
That was crazy.
Um,
I'm going to bring that up.
well,
You can talk. Go ahead.
yeah,
While I get the video.
you know, she's catching a lot of shit for it. As expected, the department apparently came out and threw her under the bus already, even though the alleged investigation is just now being launched.
So I'm sorry. You know, I've been this was a pretty busy week, couple of weeks for me, and that's really why I haven't been doing as many podcasts. What is it? How did they throw her under the bus?
Well, I'm not on Twitter, but I read on the New York Post article that apparently the department put out some tweets. They said basically condemning her inaction, or
Oh, really?
whoever it was that they worded it. You know, that's what I read in the New York Post article. I don't know if it's true. Like I said, I'm not on Twitter, but if it is true, it's pretty disgusting. I would ask that they let the investigation play out before they come out and say any dumb shit like that.
Did you watch the video? I'm sure on the post from the Post.
I watched what was on the Post article.
What'd you think? What do you think? What is your assessment?
Well, again, I'm always hesitant to say too much before the investigation concludes, but there is some stuff on the video. So, do you want to play first?
No, go ahead. I'm getting it ready, so you can go ahead and just sit.
A cop like that is obviously in a very difficult situation. She's alone. She's, a tall, thin girl. She's probably 125 pounds, soaking wet. These are two big dudes, clearly drunk, or maybe even worse, hopped up on something. And they're obviously very angry because they're giving this guy the business, right? Now, what's she going to be able to do with her personal weapons, like we call them, the hands, fists, feet, knees, elbows, etc.? And my guess, probably not a whole lot.
Yeah,
because there's two guys there, and I'm sure they had buddies. So
what about treating him like a black man and just shooting him?
Oh, come on, man. The fuck out of here.
I'm just saying. No, I'm all jokes aside. Why not pull out a taser? Or, or even shoot him, because, right, your weapon is to prevent someone from being killed, or you yourself being killed, right? They could have killed that guy. I'm surprised he's still alive.
So, if she was going to get forceful in that situation, what she's going to have to do is she's going to have to use one of the weapons on her belt, on her duty rig. She's going to have to use, at a minimum, her asp, or her OC spray, which a lot of times when people are drunk or hopped up on drugs, it doesn't even work.
Doesn't work, right?
Yeah. In a lot of situations like that, someone will just go straight to the taser and pull it out and say, police, you're going to get tased. The problem with that is that you only get one taser in a situation and in a situation like that where you're up against multiple people. Even if you hit the first guy with a perfect shot and he goes down,
right?
You zapping him a couple of times. The other one or two guys that are there helping him might turn on you. And now you're going to be in a fist fight with a grown man or two of them. Then when the taser stops working on the third guy, he's going to get up and he's going to be beating on you. So she's in a tough spot. It may have ended up where, had she tased him and the other guy came rushing at her, she might have had to kill him.
So why didn't she pull her service weapon and maybe not shoot, but at least warn him, say, hey, back up. I'm going to shoot you guys, because they can literally have killed this guy. It's a miracle he didn't die. So why didn't you, and I'm asking, I don't know. Listen, I'm not a cop. I don't like to try to, say what I would have done.
I'm going to give you exactly what the answer is. Now, I don't really know her that well. I know her a little bit when I was on the job, and I haven't spoken to her or anybody else really on the job about this situation. So I'm going to give you what I'm pretty sure is the answer as to why she was hesitant, and you can take it for what it's worth. I'm not going to say whether it's a good answer or a bad answer. I'll just tell you basically what it is that the cops have they have no support. They have no, especially the sergeants, lieutenants, and captains. They don't have a union. The union is completely neutralized through bribery by City Hall. Their union president is a complete boob, a total hand job, a total Spano hand job. Going to do whatever the fucking mayor tells him to do. All right. Where's he been? The department already went on Twitter and threw her under the bus, apparently. Where's he been? Did he stand up to the microphone and say a few kind words on her behalf? No, of course not. Because he's not allowed to, because he's in line for some prize that he's going to get at the end of his tenure. And if he does something like that against the mayor's will, he's not going to get it. Okay. Now, he wouldn't have that problem if he wasn't a sellout. If he cared about being the union president, he could probably stay there for another 20 years. But he is a sellout. So he's right.
So the presidents obviously are voted in, right, as for the union presidents, right? They're voted in. No, how they president? How they become?
They're selected. There's apparently a bylaw in the union that allows the outgoing president, whenever he's ready to vacate the position, to handpick his selector from within the union.
Oh, really?
Right, without an election. So what the Spanos do is they exploit that bylaw. And I talked some about this on the second podcast that we did towards the end of it. It started, I think, to the best of my knowledge, with John Mueller when he was the CLSA president back in the day, 15 years ago or whatever. And management tells him, obviously you have aspirations beyond just being a captain or being the president of the Captains, Lieutenants, and Sergeants Association. You want to be management. You want to be a chief. You want to be a commissioner, probably beyond. So you know what you're going to do for us? Whatever we tell you. Then when you leave, we're going to tell you who to pick. You're going to use that law, that bylaw. Okay. You'll get your reward. The guy that you pick on our instructions will come in and he'll see that we rewarded you and he'll do the same thing. We'll do our homework beforehand to see who it's going to be. Who's going to play ball with us. And that cycle has been going on ever since.
And now, I mean, and this should be something that, I think, because I support police. I do. And, and I was there on Friday and they were all, cool and great to me. You know what I'm saying? And I was joking, making jokes here. But, police officers need to look at that, right? Because that should concern them, right? If you find yourself in a situation there and now you don't have the support of your union, right? Because of this, that's not cool. How can they change the president if they wanted to? Is there some kind of, recourse that, or something?
I mean, look, I reported a voicemail from some guy of no particular importance to the mayor. And for that, they took my job, my pension, my house, my kid for a year. They took me away from my kid. Basically, they took our college fund is gone. They're complete fucking animals when something they don't like is about to happen. And they'll do anything to stop it. And all it takes is one crooked shrink. Get a couple of text messages cursing at your daughter's mother, send to one of the doctors in our pocket, and bye-bye. See you later. Nice knowing you. Now, who the hell wants to go through that just because they want to take back the union? Right. I'm going to do it. I would have done it had I gotten back. And Spano knows that, which is why he wouldn't let it happen. Because I flat out told him I was going to do it in an email I sent to Mike Koch, another hand job boy. So
that's where you mess up, though. Never let people know what you're going to do.
You're right.
Never. That's right. And so, but I hear you. I'm like that too. I'm a fighter too, and that's kind of why I took it with the podcast, and I didn't give in, and I didn't, because no, screw that. You're not gonna try to F with me. I'm gonna F with you back, and and I crossed my T's and dotted my I's, and I have resources. I'm fortunate to have and blessed to have these resources, especially outside of Yonkers as well, and individuals and people outside of Yonkers, because it's people that are in Yonkers and that understand this retaliation thing and that are part of it and scared or that are scared to speak out. A lot of times that Yonkers is their world. I realized that Yonkers wasn't the entire world when I moved out of Yonkers. I thought that was the entire world for me. Everybody was like Yonkers, right? And so so they don't understand, and they may not have that stuff like that. So I'm prepared. I'm ready to go super distance. Like it will be just blown up. You know what I'm saying? Super distance. But I don't want to do that because that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of money. I just want to run my business and continue to play with my toys. That's it. That's it. And so, that's crazy anyway.
So she hesitated because, and it sounds horrible to say, but I can tell you the way a lot of cops think in the last really probably say 7 or 8 years, you a lot of times when you find yourself in a shitty situation like that, you're going to get some shit one way or the other. If she starts using weapons and ends up doing something that people consider to be too much force, she may end up in jail.
Right. If she just he was a white guy, so I don't think people would have been protesting if she shot him. Yeah. I'm just saying.
I mean, cops don't think like that. I don't know the public.
I know. I'm joking.
The cops don't. So she found herself in one of these situations where she had the choice of escalating, which is a seriously taboo thing to do these days in police politics, a lot of times it's the right thing to do. But politically, if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you're going to get shit over doing something and you're going to get shit over not doing something, sometimes they choose don't do anything because,
Right.
or at least wait until backup gets here. Then we'll all do something. Let me not step
Right.
in and get hurt and then get in trouble anyway when I have to reach for my gun or I have to, do
Right.
something, that the public is not going to like anyway. So,
Yeah.
in other words, if it's an option between getting in trouble for using too much force or getting in trouble for using too little force, go that way.
Right.
Because now what's going to happen is she's going to end up on a desk for the rest of her career.
I was just going to say this, Joan, exactly. That's what I was thinking as Anthony was talking. Cops are now damned if they do and damned if they don't. I haven't seen this video, but I infer she was alone without backup and wonder why that was. Well, let's get to the video and let's show it, and then we'll continue talking about it.
She's alone because she was a sergeant. Sergeants don't have partners.
And it's warning, it's graphic.
Yeah, this guy he did end up being okay. He's going to live. He doesn't have injuries that are going to kill him or anything like that, or at least that's what the press release said.
I mean, she almost looks like she's refereeing it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Ooh, geez. How do you, enough is enough. Like, why don't you just, I don't get this. This is what I don't get. Again, my apologies. It's a very graphic video.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of this. I've seen a lot of this in my time.
And look at all those people over there, man. No one tries to help. Look, this is a regular guy.
I don't know who that is. I don't know why he was intervening the way he did.
I think, listen, hey, honestly, Anthony, if I would have seen that, I think I would have jumped out my car and did something. Listen, I'm not trying to say I'm a hero, a superhero, nothing like that. But I just couldn't sit there and watch this guy get beat up like that and then see the female officer kind of seeming to be struggling with these guys, right? Like I would have tried to help that situation. And so I'm glad I'm not there because I don't really, my wife tells me that, Freddie, you can't be doing things like that, you're going to get, and I know, but it's just, you see that. Like, I've been in a lot of fights, I've beat people up in fights before and I've never do that. I don't understand the mentality of some people. He was down.
As far as the cops,
the cops are there. Stop. Not even the cops.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I've seen that many times where they just don't care. They just keep going, because they get into that. They get crazed. They're drunk or whatever it is from the beginning, and now they're enraged. Clearly, they were mad at this guy over something. So, happens a lot where the cops pull up and nobody stops.
Wow,
I've seen that a lot.
Wow. Well, they were charged with felony assault.
Yeah. Right.
And they made Yonkers look bad, man, because the guy that got beat up was from Yonkers. The other guy was from they were brothers, one from Mount Kisco and one from Dobbs Ferry. And that's crazy. I couldn't believe that when I saw this post video. I was like, wow. So what did you see there as a 15-year veteran of the Yonkers Police Department, as a lieutenant, someone who rode alone, correct? You would be by yourself and you would at times come on the scene by yourself or be the first one there?
Yeah, but I'm 6'3", 240 pounds, and I grew up in a martial arts school on McLean Avenue, so it's different for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not saying I'm the ultimate badass, but it is a little bit of a different situation if it's me pulling up alone instead. Right.
Well, I'm saying, but you being in that situation and stuff like that, and just having have that experience. What do just your assessment, I guess, of what you saw there? What because at first it just seemed like, why didn't she call for? Maybe she did already, right? Because I didn't see her going to the radio.
She did. You see her on the radio in the video. You do. You see her on the video, and I guarantee that's what she was doing before she got out of the car.
Right.
She, I'm sure, was using the radio on the dashboard, not the one on her shoulder. Calling for backup, and then getting out to try to do what she could without actually having to shoot somebody. Because a lot of times it comes down to when the politics get involved, it comes down to, oh, well, he had no gun. Right. So why were you shooting him? Well, because when I tried to intervene and gave him orders, he didn't listen to, and instead what he did was he turned and he charged at me. And he's got about 100 pounds on me. So I was protecting myself. Oh, but he had no gun. Oh, but he had no gun. Oh, but he had no gun. People don't realize that someone who outweighs you by 150 pounds can kill you easily.
Sure, yeah.
Just with their hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if she had done something like that and pulled out her weapon and gave instructions that were ignored, okay, and they charged at her and she shot them, she would have been justified.
Right.
But she also knows that she's going to get thrown under the bus by the mayor
Right.
and by the non-existent union president and by the police commissioner in all likelihood.
And so you're saying that the
He's a
Yonkers,
pretty good dude, but he takes orders, you know.
you're saying that, you know, and I haven't seen this, but that the Yonkers police have put out tweets and they were already throwing her under the bus.
That's what the Post article said.
Mm.
I didn't see them myself because I'm not on Twitter, but that's what the Post article said.
Right.
Yeah.
And so should normally the PBA president be speaking out about this, or I mean, shouldn't we be hearing more from the department about it?
The PBA president is Keith Olson, and if I had to guess, I'd say he would have already. If this was a cop, it's not a cop; it's a sergeant.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say. This,
Right.
the CS, whatever, you know. I thought they were both called PBAs. I don't know. I just thought one was for the sergeants and one was for the.
No, the CLSA is the Captain, Lieutenants, and Sergeants Association. That was my union, and that's why I'm jobless right now.
Right. No, I knew that it was CS whatever, but I just thought they were PBAs. That was just a general thing.
Oh no, not all unions are the PBA. The PBA stands for Patrolmen's Benevolent Association.
I got you. There you go.
Right.
Now I see. I learned something every day, and I always say that. But yeah, so I mean, shouldn't have Mike? Is it Mike Hanley? Correct?
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on? What's nothing, right? Just like in your situation, nothing.
Yeah, right. So nothing, zero, and she probably understands that ahead of time. And unfortunately, that instinctively bakes into a cop's decision. How much trouble am I going to get if I do this? How much trouble am I going to get into if I don't do this? If I don't do anything, who's going to have my back? Who's not? When you have a hand job like Mike Hanley running the union, you know, it's like you might as well, you know, you might as well not have a union. You really don't have a union.
And that presents a danger to the community, I guess, if police officers feel like, you know, they can't fully exercise, you know, their, you know, every option that they have in order to stop a crime or prevent someone from being, you know, killed. I mean, that's a threat that poses a danger to the community, right? Because I can't really fully depend on a police officer, not because of them specifically, but because of what could happen to them, you know, from stopping someone from killing me, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying? If that would have been me, I mean, I'd probably be dead. I'm way skinnier than that guy.
I defend the girl. I if I was her lieutenant, I would be defending her probably publicly because, you know, I know things about the inner workings of the department that people who are throwing all this criticism at her don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the department is woefully lacking in that type of a thing.
Right.
You know, look,
I mean,
you didn't even know what the CLSA was, right? You didn't even know what the CLSA was when.
No. I do know that.
Podcasts. You do now.
No, I do that. No, I do that. I did know. I'm sorry that the CSLA, whatever, was the captains, sergeants, lieutenants, you know, union. I just thought that it was also a PBA. I just thought it's a PBA. You know what I'm saying? Like PBAs are police unions
because you never hear anything from them. You know,
right? Now
in the city, you hear things from the captains union, the lieutenants union, the sergeants union. In Yonkers, people don't even know that it's a separate union because you never hear anything from the guy. Because all he does is hold a monthly meeting at Zupa's once a month, where he sorts the membership for a 50-50 raffle ticket that they don't even want to buy, but they do anyway because they know they're going to get shit if they turn it down. And someone wins, you know, $350, and nobody's happy that they had to buy it, but you know, they get you for $20. Who knows where the other half of it goes? I think I have some ideas, but it certainly doesn't go to defending the cops. I mean, I paid thousands of dollars in union dues over the years. And where did it go when my job was on the line? I got nice knowing you, pal.
That's true. You know what? That alone would piss me off. The money I paid you guys and you're not defending me. Nothing. I mean, you know, I think we're going to play that audio at some point where, you know, you have Mike Hanley saying some things and he goes, I really just, we might even play a little bit of it. He goes, I really don't see anything here, Anthony. Like I see some things that kind of went down that, you know what I mean?
You want to mess around a little bit? You have the emails, right? I sent it to you. I can send it to you again if you want.
No, I definitely have it. I mean, I didn't delete it. I was just actually looking at this article. It's not just a Post, even Conservative Journalism Review. You know, talks about the video shows Yonkers cop watching fight, right? They say watching the fight. New video has surfaced of New York, out of New York that is beyond disturbing. Beyond disturbing. The footage captured two brothers fighting with another man, brutally beating the man, including stomping him. All the while, a female officer was standing there and doing nothing to stop them, right? Police are fighting on our streets every day, and this officer's conduct will do little to help them. Wow.
Yeah, where's that from now, the Post?
This is the conservative journalism journalreview.com, but it's similar to what the Post said. Sorry, but I don't understand. Why does the fact that someone is sergeant mean no backup is provided? Shouldn't it be based upon the incident? 2 drunken guys in a street fight is a recipe for disaster. That's a good point. As a female officer, I mean, obviously, if you look at her, and this is no disrespect to her, but you know, she's not going to be able to handle that situation by herself.
No, most male cops would not have been able to handle it by themselves.
Right.
Yeah, well, sergeants don't have partners because they're sergeants. You know, they're not patrolling a particular sector all night. That's up to the cops. The sergeant is the first line supervisor.
So they normally would be at the precinct, and you're saying, you know, and maybe they'll go out.
They might be out. They might be out on the road, you know, riding around doing some patrol activity themselves, but it's not really their primary responsibility. So yeah, so if she pulls up to something like that first, you know, I don't know why anybody would think that there would automatically be a car right behind her. She has to call for backup. You know, I don't even know if that was a radio run or if it was just something that she pulled up on. You know, she might have just been driving and saw this going on, and then she has to call for backup, and God knows where the nearest car is. You know what I mean?
You sound extremely racist, Freddie. You know, I once was told by an attorney, she was an attorney for Planned Parenthood and has done other stuff in law and all that minorities could not be racist. I didn't agree with that, though, but I'm going to use it. Danny, I can't be a racist. I'm a minority. And no, you have to understand sarcasm. I was being sarcastic, Danny. It's sarcasm. Sarcasm. Sometimes people don't know that.
I don't even know what comment he's talking about.
I guess maybe when I was saying, I guess maybe if I treat him like a black guy and just shoot him, right? I was being sarcastic, and then also, if she would have shot him, he was a white guy, so she would have been fine. She wouldn't have got no protest, and I'm being sarcastic and joking. I'm just, tongue in cheek.
I don't think so. I think she would have caught a lot of shit.
No, I'm making a joke. I don't know what would happen.
I hear you. I think that she made the decision that is going to get her in the least amount of trouble, and unfortunately, it's a reality. But that is the way a lot of cops think. You know, it's
and I could understand that. I could see that. I mean, she shoots somebody, then you have to deal with everything. You have, the investigation. You have to, go through that whole process and stuff like that. And I'm not saying, just because you don't want to go through a process, don't worry, don't care about someone's life. But I mean, it's just like, it's a lot to really kind of process at that moment, right? What do I do? This could happen, that could, and it's just a crazy situation. And maybe they should just put, like, Jones said, they should just put 2 people, especially when it's an officer like the female there. And again, nothing against her, but the fact is, I mean, she, like you said, she's, not very, big, and she's not going to be able to handle that situation by herself.
She's not going to be able to do anything physically, with her.
Right.
Without weapons, she's going to end up having to use one of the weapons on her rig, and she decided not to do it. That's what happened. And in a nutshell,
I think in that case she would have been fine. I mean, you watch that video. I don't know who would have been against her using a weapon there.
If things went flawlessly, then yes.
But you know what? There's always groups to instigate things like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they look to try to. NYPD provides drivers for all supervisors due to incidents like this when they need to take immediate action. Well, Yonkers has a budget problem all the time, so I doubt that would be happening, right? And that's a good way to,
keep police down. The mayor has a security detail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
right. Not sure why he needs one, but he has one. I think I know why he needs one. I think it's more of a designated driving detail, but,
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Well, isn't the mayor need protection? He doesn't need protection as the mayor?
He might in some situations. I don't think he does on a nightly basis.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's just I've seen some things. I've seen him out on the town from time to time before all hell broke loose with me at work.
And how do you get to be on that detail as an officer? Get to have that? Because I see the guy who drives him all the time.
You gotta have major steam for that. Yeah. You gotta have major, a major hook.
Yeah. You know the officer who drives him, the mayor from time to time?
I don't know who it is currently. I know guys who've done it in the past.
He looks Hispanic, maybe like 5'6", 5'5". Yeah, anyway, but that's crazy, man. I can't believe that happened. When I saw that video, I was like, wow. And these guys just had no regard for the police officer being there. Most of the time, I'm sure people, I know you said this happened, but for the most part, majority of the time, people see the police, they back up. You know what I mean? They don't want to, but they just hadn't. And then the officer's holding one of their arms and he's still with the other arm. Bum, bum. Throwing
It must have
haymakers.
been personal. It must have been really personal.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Wasn't just words exchanged in a bar between guys who didn't know each other. My guess is it was probably personal because they really were. They were really riled up.
Well, statistically, they say that you're more likely to be killed by somebody you know. So there you go. I'm sure they knew each other already, and like you said, it probably was something personal. 55 minutes, Anthony. Everything was all right at Fogarty's. You left no problem, right? We're good. You were good there.
Yeah, why did somebody say something to the contrary?
No. Nobody said nothing happened. I'm just saying that nobody said anything happened. Just that you exchanged some words. You almost got into a fight with Tony Spano, and no one wanted you there.
Again, that's bullshit.
And you showed up.
There were some people who didn't want me there, but first of all, I was there first, and second of all, they were outnumbered by plenty.
And so
I had a lot of friends there. I saw a couple of retired guys there that I know. I saw a couple of gorgeous blondes from back in the day that I knew. They were in there with some friends. I saw, obviously, a lot of guys who were still on the job who I'm not going to name because then they'll be guilty by association. There were some people in there that I knew that weren't even cops, that were friends of mine. I had a lot of friends there. I had a lot more friends than enemies. So whoever you're hearing that from is just another hand job who's trying to, sabotage me.
No, I don't know if it's a sabotage. It's just saying that it's obviously people, there's sides, right? There's sides. You have your side, and then there's the other side, and people on the other side, they're saying that no one supports you, right? And I've heard this, and then not just one person. I've heard this from multiple people who or even from people that are not necessarily on that side, but they speak to people that are closer to the other side, and they tell me, what's being said, right? And they're saying that, that you're making yourself look crazy up on the podcast, and that, it's you're not helping yourself in any way. And I do. I'll be straight up. I do. I say, I don't know if I don't agree necessarily all the way with them. I do think that based on what you showed me, that people support you, and also based on what I've seen in terms of emails and stuff, the email chain, and even the recommendation that something wasn't right here, right? And obviously there was some kind of beef that happened, and many people here in the city of Yonkers know about things like this. I mean, people understand retaliation very well, right? That's why so many people don't want to speak out. That's why people roll up on me while I'm walking to my office in the car and say, "Hey, Freddie Vasquez, how you doing, man? I love your show." And I'll be like, "Hey, thank you. How you doing? What's your name?" No, I'm not going to tell you. They don't even want to tell me their name because they don't want any type of retaliation, right? And so that's real. So that's why I can believe what you're saying, and I try to defend you. But they do say that, right? They say that people are just looking at you and watching to laugh.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard of anything like that, not once. I mean, obviously, if there are people out there doing that, then those aren't the people who are my friends. They're not going to contact me and say it,
right?
But put it this way: actions or inactions speak louder than words. This is at least podcast number 10, and for all practical purposes, this is an open forum. If someone wanted to reach out to you and say, "Freddie, let me on the show with him. I want to dispute some of the things that he's saying."
Sure, absolutely.
You would allow it, but you haven't gotten that once yet, have you?
No, but I've invited, Wayne Simons to come on, and not to come on with you, but to come on and maybe just talk about his side of things, and even with the incident that he was involved in, or maybe anything he may want to clarify or clear up with you. I did offer that invitation. I didn't want to create like a back and forth show. I don't want to do that.
I don't think he will, and I don't think he should.
No, he declined, but he appreciated the offer.
Right. He's enjoying his retirement. And his family's kind of been through enough, so he should just bow out gracefully. And that's essentially what I said to him in a text message that I sent him.
But he said he was trying to help you.
We're trying to help me. Oh, it sure as hell didn't seem like it.
He said he tried to help you. You needed to get help. He was also trying to, encourage you to sign that form, so that way you can have your job, that the mother of your child can have the child support, because he feels bad for her. right? He felt bad for her, what she went through, and that she would never do that to you, throw you, what she did. But because it is true, right? And you do need help. That's why she, that's what he said. No, and it's true.
He was trying to sabotage me because he doesn't like me. Okay. There are some people on the job who don't. In a department of 600 people, you're not going to get along with everybody. Most people do like me. I mean, there were people that always the other night. Some of them were pretty drunk. They were like, "I love this guy." Like one of those moments in like the movies.
Right.
I fucking love this guy. There was some of that. I mean, it was a mixed bag, man. It was a mixed bag. It's always a mixed bag.
Right.
I'm doing what I'm doing. I guess you could say for political reasons. Somebody has to talk about some of this shit because it's completely out of control. When they can do to somebody something like what they did to me, shit is just way too out of control. I mean, guys from my father's era who I've spoken to about this, they can't even believe it. I try to tell them how the Spanos control the union. They can't even believe it. It's just something that never would have happened in the days of Tommy Drexel, who was the CLSA president for 10 years. And my father was actually the vice president under him. They never even had to deal with a situation like mine because the mayor and the police commissioner never would have dared because they had a real union. You know what I mean? It was going to get fought. The president didn't give a shit about getting some prize when he wasn't the president anymore.
And that's another thing that, that leads me to, also, believe what you're saying as well, because Mike Hanley did nothing. He didn't do anything.
Nothing. He did about as much for me as he's going to do for the sergeant that was in that video.
Yeah, and
zero.
And it was crazy to me that he didn't do anything because I remember when the DPW guy, who was driving drunk and killed the 16-year-old kid on McLean, the union, they were saying that the union was going to fight for his job and everything, and that they're going to be there for him, and he killed a 16-year-old kid driving drunk, and then nothing for you. That's why I was like, wow, that's crazy. So nothing. I mean. And maybe Mike Hanley would like to come on and talk about that because you are the president of that union and they're paying, what you said, thousands and thousands of dollars and union dues and union fees to get no representation.
Do you have the picture that I sent you before? I don't know if it's up to you.
Which one?
You want to put it up? I identified him. I drew an arrow to his head. I sent it to you in a text message.
Oh yeah, I don't have that up though. It was in a text message. I don't have it up. No.
You can see the feeble-mindedness right on his face. I mean, what is he supposed to do for anybody? He's a moron. He's a puppet. And now he'll go around telling anybody who listens how much he tried to help me. Listen, the decision to fight or to sign is mine. Okay? If I decide to fight, the union fights. It's that simple. The union has no business saying, "Oh, well, we want you to sign, not fight, so you can go fuck yourself." They can't. They don't even have that option. They're supposed to be fighting for me. Right. That's what I want to do. You know what I mean?
And they're supposed to be they're supposed to be providing you with legal assistance, correct?
What they're supposed to do is they're supposed to take the termination decision, the decision to fire me. They're supposed to take it to an Article 78 hearing. Article 78 of the New York Civil Practice Laws and Rules basically contests a government decision where you present evidence that the city behaved maliciously, that the police commissioner behaved maliciously, which is I have a ton of it. I have a ton of all that evidence. The reason that they're not doing it is because I have all of the evidence. Don't you understand? As a puppet, as a guy waiting for a prize, it's his job to not embarrass the mayor.
No, I get that. Right. I definitely get that. But I'm saying that in the fact that they're supposed to be doing this or doing something for you, and the fact that they're not, that is says a lot to me.
Of course.
Right? That should say a lot to everybody. I'm just saying that. I mean, to me, that's almost like a smoking gun.
Right.
Just about, right?
Because I'm like, this is. And the people who are watching these podcasts who are knowing this, or I shouldn't say knowing, who are believing it when I say it, starting to figure it out, it's all news to them. It's not news to us. All the cops know about this. They know this goes on. They know that the CLS hasn't had a real president in 5 presidents, probably almost 20 years. And it's something, if you try to run, say I had pissed off nobody, never pissed off Goomba. None of this had ever started. Then one day I decided, one election cycle, I decided, you know what? I don't like what goes on. I'm going to take the union back. And then I decided to run against the president. Everything that's happening now would have happened then. It would have just been for a different reason.
Right.
It wouldn't have been because I didn't answer the phone call for Louis Venturino. It would have been because I was trying to take back the union. They sent Ray Montero.
I was going to say that's the Ray Montero.
You understand? Right. But the problem was that the Olsenettes weren't the police commissioner. See, when John Mueller became the police commissioner, what you have to understand is he wasn't the only police commissioner. They were a unit. They were a little unit of wannabe thugs. So with one of their own being the police commissioner, they're all the police commissioner.
Right.
Okay. It was Goomba, it was Louis Venturino that was wielding the power of the commissioner's office when Mueller was pulling all these strings for him. Right. But when Ray Montero was trying to fight for the PBA and become the PBA president, or the best they could do was go to Chucky Gardner and say, oh, he's got all these problems, basically like what they did with me, and
Right.
recommend that he go to one. So Chucky sent him to one on their recommendation, but he didn't put the fix in.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So the guy said to Ray, and we'll get to that. I'll tell you more about the day that he went to that doctor as we go along in the podcast. But the guy basically said to him, you're fine. This sounds political. You're running for union, positions. Go back to work. So he went back to work. They couldn't get him off the payroll. They couldn't hold his career hostage and threaten him to signing paperwork.
Right.
And he ended up suing. And he ended up running for the presidency. He lost the election, but he got the treatment because he dared to disrupt the status quo.
Right.
That's why I'm doing this, because at some point there needs to be something that resembles checks and balances in this town.
Right. I agree.
Otherwise, you have a dictatorship where people get hurt over and over.
I agree.
Over again.
And that is why I speak mostly about the Yonkers City Council, because they are the check and balances, and they have not been checking. They don't know how to balance, right? They have done nothing but rubber stamp and be puppets and do exactly what they are told to do. And it's obvious.
I think that in order for him to be able to run for a fourth term, the city council has to vote unanimously.
They are. They're going to do it.
Yeah, I know. And
no doubt.
It's a shame. You got 7 people and not one of them is going to have the balls to do their fucking job.
I think Moranti's not. I don't think Moranti. I think they only need 4 of the 7, I believe.
I could be wrong. Something like that. I thought a term change had to be unanimous. I could be wrong about that. I don't know that for a fact.
No, I maybe I thought it was 4, and I know Moranti's not going to go with it. I believe Moranti wanted to run or wants to run. Corazon Pineda may not be voting for it because she wanted to run. However, that could have changed, and they could all be voting, in favor of it. Just see who got jobs after they overturned last, right? Like Michael Sabatino. Michael Sabatino was
sure. Yeah.
Who?
Joan. She knows a lot.
Yeah, no, Joan. Yeah, she was a councilwoman herself. Yeah. Michael Sabatino, he got that BS job where he's taking $120,000 of taxpayer money. The guy does. Folks, how many people in the city of Yonkers would like to have a job making $120,000 a year where you don't have to really do anything? You don't even show up really. Maybe once or twice here and there, there's a Zoom meeting and you show your face on it, but you're making $120,000 a year. Has anybody seen Michael Sabatino? Does anybody know who he is besides our political insiders or people that really follow politics? No. The guy and his husband were making all this money. His husband, Robert Voorhees, they were making all this money, and it's taxpayer money. It's our money. Our money. Why should we give Michael Sabatino $120,000 a year and he does nothing, folks? He does as much as the guy that's laying on the sidewalk on Ashburton and Warburton all day long.
Well, I tend not to hate the guy who's doing all right for himself.
I don't hate him.
I
don't hate anybody.
I know him. I've met him through some mutual friends. He's actually a pretty good guy.
I'm sure he is a great guy.
I'm sure I'll see him again. And
but the problem is, he's a waste of taxpayer money. So it's not about him. It's about my taxpayer and everybody in Yonkers when our kids in the schools don't have it.
Goomba made over $200 a year to sit in his buddy's jewelry store and drink Tito's vodka out of a Nestle water jug.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is it right?
They call it the lounge. They have a water jug full of Tito's vodka back there, and that's all he did for years on duty.
We did that on a cruise once. We put vodka in water bottles and stuff, but now they check for that. But is it okay? Is it right?
No, of course not.
Exactly. That's why I speak of it. It's not about. It's not personal. It's not about Michael Sabatino. I don't know. I don't dislike the guy. I don't hate the guy. I don't hate any of them. I don't hate any of them. I think they hate me, but I don't hate any of them. I don't. It's just that if we were to trim the fat, right, and find all those different positions like that, because there are a lot. And they're making over $100,000 a year. We would save at least $2-3 million, probably, right? Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but we would save a good amount of money that can go to where it's needed. And the only reason they got those jobs, is because they did favors. or they did something. And like Joan is saying, Michael Sabatino was one of the council members who voted to for the term extension the last time. So that's what he got.
And the reason why you have term limits for the executive is because of things like that. Because
only 4 votes. We need 5 to override mayor, but he will not veto.
So it doesn't need to be unanimous. Okay. All right. I didn't know that.
And Moranti's not going to vote yes. Absolutely. Rubo's brother got job soon after, from what I understand. Breen will lose to Nader and get the job he really wants. Folks in the city of Yonkers, Mike Breen, you better win your election, because if you don't, you can't get a job with the city. The residents of this city do not want you getting a job after you lose. Ha! Just saying. Yeah. Where are the feds? Well, maybe you could become an FBI agent, Anthony DiMaggio, and your first case could be investigating corruption in Yonkers. How about that?
Well, I have some career paths that I'm exploring now. I'm working some jobs in the meantime, and they're good jobs. I got good bosses, but certainly looking into some other things down the road. This town is woefully lacking in watchdog journalism. Maybe that's an option.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe. So, and I'm actually looking to kind of grow a media company here myself. Maybe you might be interested, huh? Help me with this, and we could do real investigative journalism, right? It's really lacking these days, man. Everybody's just a paid puppet everywhere. So anyway, folks, it's 1:10, 1:11 now. Anthony DiMaggio, anything else you want to say before we get off? And next week, we will jump right into your story again, because we, as you say, got a lot to go there.
Yeah, so let me just say real quick before we go off.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you. To all those people who were at Fogarty's the other night with the mean mugs and shit, trying to look like hard asses, you must know that it wasn't my choice to want to be in this situation. You know what I mean? You can't take what you took from me. I was on the phone with Chief Rice, Paul Rice, a couple of months ago, because after it finally got to the point where I refused to talk to Mike Hanley anymore, I was reaching out to Paul Rice so that I could do a little bit of talking with him to see how this was maybe going to all end, before I got fired or right after I got fired. I was talking to Paul Rice, and he said, he's a real good guy up there. He's one of the best guys up on the 3rd floor. And he said, you did very, very little wrong to be in the situation that you're in, very, very little compared to what some people have done and left with their pensions and, all of their benefits and stuff intact. Yeah. So you did very little wrong. So I just want to remind all the assholes who were mean mugging me at Fogarty's the other night, and probably will the next time they see me, all of the assholes who are trying to plot to get me in handcuffs for whatever bullshit reason you can think of. It wasn't my idea to be in this situation, okay? I don't want to be. And you guys must know that you're all in the wrong, because if you weren't, you'd be calling Freddie to get on his show and come put me in my place, okay? But none of you got the brass to do it. So until one of you wants to do it, look the other way when you see me. But if you want to come on, I'll be more than happy to debate you about anything you want to say about me. And that's it. No volume.
Anthony DiMaggio, folks. I put the mute on because I wanted you to have your time. 15-year veteran of the Yonkers Police Department. That's a long time. You were a lieutenant, as I said. You got a perfect score on the lieutenant's test. Smart individual from what a lot of people have said. Your show has been amazing. A lot of people have been really gravitating toward the podcast a lot lately because of the podcast that we've been doing, and so I appreciate you also coming on and sharing your story. And like you said, I give everyone the platform, right? And so to anyone that, Anthony may have mentioned, or I've mentioned, or anyone who wants to come on my platform and talk about whatever it is that they want to talk about that is relevant, of course, you're more than welcome. You're invited to do so. However, certain individuals are just not going to come on, Anthony, and you know that.
No, but I mean, if you're given mean looks, that means you got something to say, and this is a platform for you to come and say it. You're all political people, the elder Spano brothers. They're all political people. John Mueller is a police chief. Obviously, I'm on here making some serious accusations against him. He would be well within his rights as the head of a department to come forth and defend himself. Keith Olsen has certainly spoken to the press many times, okay? And I think you would tend to be pretty fair if someone wanted to come on.
Sure.
I don't think you would. Yeah, I don't think you'd be biased
Absolutely.
towards me in any way.
And
So
every time
until it
someone,
happens, yeah, right.
oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna keep calling people on their bullshit until it happens, because they can come anytime they want to make their voice heard on this situation with me, but they don't. So that should tell everybody everything that they need to know.
Yeah.
Okay? Because inaction speaks louder than words. Action speaks louder than words, and inaction speaks louder than words. Nobody's doing anything. Everybody's saying a whole lot behind the scenes, sending you emails, sending you texts, coming on with their fake names, making comments on the show. Okay?
Right.
Everyone's a coward.
And that's what I've said, to individuals who have, the fake accounts or the anonymous accounts. I said, even when you're doing the right thing, it takes a little bit away from your credibility and even, your ability to engage a lot of people when, you're being anonymous or you're some fake account. So I always tell people that, try to be as real as possible, show your face, and just listen, own it. And it's time. And I get it. There's retaliation, but we have to start coming out and speaking your truth in any situation, anything that may be going on in your life. Speak your truth. Don't be afraid to speak your truth. You have to speak truth to power.
And I'll close it by saying this, right? So when they pull this scam, they get you to the doctor, they get you off the payroll. Now they got your career, right? What they were banking on is that I'm going to be so desperate to just do anything I have to keep my job, and let me just sign the paperwork, and please don't take this from me and don't take that from me. They're banking that I'm going to be so desperate that I'm just going to sign away my life. Okay. But I didn't. I told them to go pound sand, and I'll see you when I see you, either in the court or the court of public opinion. I'll see you there, wherever it's got to be done. Okay. Because I'm not signing nothing. This guy's a lunatic. He's got to be stopped. Somebody was trying to cover for him. Mueller. Okay. If he hadn't gotten between me and my kid, I probably would have signed and played all the games they wanted me to play. But if I do that and I help them cover this up, he's going to do it to somebody else. Okay, he's going to do it to another cop. And that's what I'm trying to stop. So all the people who don't like me for what I'm doing, just remember that that's what's going on here.
You mentioned that was
from hurting somebody else.
You mentioned that was a concern of yours, over at the MTA. Now that he's the commissioner there.
Right. Because he's a very Machiavellian type of person. Okay. Now, in psychology, or in abnormal psychology, they call Machiavellianism one of the three. How does it go? One of the three, horrifying characteristics of what they call the dark triad. I don't remember what the other two are: narcissism and something else. But Machiavellianism basically means that you can do whatever you want behind the scenes, as long as you're out there in front of the cameras, acting like a great human being, acting like a person who knows what he's talking about, acting like a person with good intentions. As a governor, as a person who wields government power, you have to be out in public presenting yourself as the noble prince. But behind the scenes, you can do whatever the hell you want to people. You can burn them at the stake. You can set them up. You can be a totally different type of person behind the scene and do whatever it is that you got to do to meet your own goals. But you always got to look like an upstanding citizen. That's called Machiavellianism. And that's what John Mueller is. And everybody who knows him knows it. Now, if someone doesn't get into the arena and do the dance with him, then he's never going to stop.
Right.
So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Right.
And I commend you for that, regardless of, and people should commend you for that, regardless if they agree with you or not. If that's, your, what's driving you is to stop something you feel so strongly about that's wrong, and you're trying to right a wrong, and you want to, protect others from, having to go through what you went through, you have to respect that, and you're willing to put yourself out there.
It will make more sense on the day where we finally get to the material that shows what happened the morning that my daughter's mother went to the family court in Poughkeepsie to file a family offense petition in furtherance of the workplace retaliation mission. That podcast is going to blow people's minds. It's still a few away. We have some more other things we have to get to before we get to it. But that's the one, that's the one that I'm really trying to get the viewership up for. I want a lot of people to watch that one. And we'll get the word out.
Let's I guess let's schedule a day and time for that specific podcast, and then we can really do some promotional stuff on there, and really pump it out there before we actually go on and just see if we can get more people to watch. Well, you heard it here, folks, and you heard Anthony. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all the comments and questions. Thank you to everyone who watched, to all the viewers. I appreciate it. You do well, Anthony, with the viewership, man. So people are interested in what you have to say. That's for sure. So, you are getting support, people are behind you. So, thank you anyway. Thank you again for sharing your story and coming on my platform, man. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Anthony DiMaggio.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah. Oh, really quick. I got a text. It says the CLSA is elected by the president is elected by members of the CLSA.
Supposed to be.
Supposed to be. Do they actually do like a vote?
They ran a sham of an election after I submitted my flash drive to Paul Sweeney, where I explained the scam in great detail. They arranged for a sham election the following November, where the person who ran against him got about 8 votes. So they know how to put on a show like they're doing the right thing. But the strings are all pulled behind the scenes. Believe me when I tell you. I don't have paranoid personality disorder, right?
That happens everywhere. Okay. I worked in a school, years ago, and there was, the opening for the supervisor. Before I get off real quick, and so they just named this woman the supervisor. I'm like, you're supposed to post a job and give others an opportunity, according to our contract and stuff, right? So because I made such a big stink about it, they did exactly that. They did they took it down. Then they called her the interim supervisor, right? They put the interim in front there, and then they did this bogus thing where she ended up getting it anyway. All right, whatever. And I was way more qualified, but it's my bitter story.
We're going to talk about the CLSA a lot going forward. So
yeah, well, you're definitely opening up a lot of eyes here, and people are definitely listening. So thank you for that, Anthony DiMaggio. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Thank you, folks, for watching. I will be back on with like 10 minutes really quick of something I want to talk about funny. Thank you. Take care. Have a good night. That was your Basement Politics episode for your Sunday night, October 30th, 2022. Folks, tomorrow is Halloween. Remember, there are curfews. I will also be giving out candy at Lockwood, 105 in Lockwood. If you're in the area, please bring your child on by in their costume and grab some candy and cupcakes and something to drink from Freddie Vasquez and family and little prodigies. Right. We do things in the community. But now I want to promote this because come check us out. And if you want to join us, we're going to be doing a community trick-or-treating over in the Lockwood area. We're going to go all around all the houses there. So join us. Join Little Prodigies if you're in need of somewhere to go to trick-or-treat. We'd love to have you. Stay safe out there. Do it early and get home early. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Thank you for watching, folks. As always, Yonkers, I love you and I appreciate you guys. And shout out to all the individuals that had events this weekend. I went around to a few. Take care.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
I want to end this quick because I'm greedy and I want some of the butter chicken. So thank you.
In another one, Mr. Rubo lied to me. And I don't vote for a person that lied to me. Thank you very much.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddie Vasquez.
Freddie